What's going on, people? BCHQ back with another discussion time. Episode 77. Reply for Tanya, Cannaday. Dinner for 5. So, who would I have? If you had to have a dinner for 5 and could pick 4 famous, they don't have to, just not family or friends, people to have a meal and meaningful conversation with, who would you pick? This includes alive and dead, and if you have to pick 3 topics that have been discussed in the conversation, what 3 topics would you pick? Okay, so my 4 people would be Eminem. I'd also have Eric Thomas, who is a motivational speaker. I'd also have Michael Jordan and Bruce Lee, and myself, of course. Eminem is the reason I ever started writing lyrics and become an artist myself. Michael Jordan, I grew up, my brother was a big basketball fan and had his room, was just posters of NBA players, and Michael Jordan was like his main, like his favourite player basically, and I grew up sort of seeing that and did my own research on it when I got old enough, and like what he did in basketball would never be done again. So Eric Thomas, I've been following for about 3 or 4 years now. I love the guy. Like he motivates, and he's been through a lot of shit in his life, and it gives a lot of hope to people, everyone in the world, I think, that is going through struggle, that you can turn it around and make something positive of your life. And lastly, Bruce Lee. The guy changed martial arts and fighting styles, and also had a great message and philosophy during his lifetime. So these are the guys I'd have at the table. So the 3 topics. I would speak to Eminem about his career, his ups and downs, and how he is arguably the greatest of all time in my opinion. And just go through his up and downs, and like he's had trouble with drugs in the past, losing people. So it would really be cool to get to know him on a deeper level and get into his mind on how he come back after losing people and can maintain the level of work that he brings out and consistently brings out, and just his style and how he just does his craft, because it's fucking amazing. I'd also speak to Eric Thomas about his grind and mentality and how you go about changing your life. I listen to his podcasts and they speak about it a lot on them, but just to be in person with him and get that energy off him, I think it would change my life. So it'd be really interesting to speak to him. I haven't watched or even heard a lot of people in my life that have got close to the passion that Eric Thomas has. And without the struggles and stuff he went through, he wouldn't have that in the first place either. So it would be very interesting to sit down with him. Would also speak to Bruce Lee about his life and the challenges that he went through, because that made him who he was. And I'd like to speak to him about what his life was more like before he reached the status that he did. As I said, he changed so many things in terms of mixed martial arts. So that is it. Question. I used to get football programs, which are like little football magazines, when I used to go to watch football, and they do it with the players, who they would have for like a celebrity dinner, or just who they would pick. It didn't even have to be celebrities, but I always used to read that and think, who would I have? So I'm glad that you asked this, because it's something that I've been thinking about on and off for a few years. So it didn't take me that long to come up with the people either, which I thought it would have took longer, but I hope I answered your questions well enough. If you've got anything else regarding this, I don't know if it's seen as cheating with the topics, because it's not, all of them aren't necessarily something they can all jump in on and all have a conversation about, but it's more sort of aimed at a few of the individuals in there. But I think for the most part, most of them could get involved and have a chat. So hope I answered your questions good, and I'll be back soon. I don't want to fuck with the real ones.